If you want to stay healthy and young for life, but are confused as to how, then you've come to the right place. Clean Regime, a guide to achieving vibrant health.
Alright, so reasons the food is bad today. Again, we talked about corporations centralizing and trying to do things to make it more profitable, and inevitably the quality of the food, the way the animals are treated, the health of the animals, all suffer. And in the end, our health suffers when we consume them. We'll talk about chickens, for example. Even organically raised chickens today still come from a modified chicken, which today grows twice the size of a normal chicken in half the amount of time. So this is just one example of how they've modified the foods. There's different ways to modify foods. Some are worse than others. I mean, obviously cross-pollination and cross-breeding, when nature says it's okay, maybe it's not so bad. But they do other more godlike manipulations to food as well. So the problem today is, the biggest concern with food today is genetically modified organisms, which we're going to get deep into. But we're going to touch a little bit upon that right now and talk about some other basics that, have become problematic with food. We'll talk about agriculture. Clearly, we've known about pesticides and insecticides and herbicides, and we've known that these types of things have been in our food, and we've known that they've caused some health problems, and they do. They've done experiments with, even before GMOs, just dealing with processed foods and the preservatives and other type of chemicals that are in the foods, causing not only physical health problems, but mental health problems as well, whether it be depression, anxiety, and behavioral issues in kids, because obviously when kids become anxious and depressed, they have behavioral issues as well. And there's been study after study done where they've taken groups of teenagers and fed them an all-organic, nutritious diet, and a lot of these problems go away, including the behavioral issues. So food contains too many chemicals today. So we say, the cliches are, to be healthy, don't smoke cigarettes, don't eat fried foods, don't eat fast foods, don't eat processed foods. Well, even a slice of bread is a processed food. And it's true today more than ever that you want to avoid processed foods, including that piece of bread, as simple as it is. I mean, there's 50 ingredients on a loaf of bread. It just doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. So processed foods are not just your Swanson TV dinner, if you will. They're not just frozen burritos or frozen dinners or completed meals like that. A cracker is a processed food, a cookie is a processed food, a slice of bread is a processed food. Granted, some foods have more processing than other, but during processing, a lot of stuff is added that shouldn't be. Now, before GMOs, again, we had a lot of these different types of issues with the food: insecticides, herbicides, preservatives, and then other type of food coloring, food additives, food flavorings. These are all chemicals that have been added to the food, which we've seen health problems from. Well, the food has become worse and worse and worse over the last 20 years, if not 30 years. And most of it is due to, again, modification of the food and different types of processing. And again, not taking care of the way we grow our food or raise animals. So again, agriculture, lots of chemicals used. I mean, even at the very beginning stages of just growing corn, wheat, soy, cottonseed, sugar beets, or any other vegetable or fruit, we're drowning and dousing these foods with more and more and more insecticides and pesticides than ever before. And at the same time, the whole concept of modifying these foods was so we would be able to use less. And again, just like every other thing that comes out about the GMO, it turns out to be a bold-faced lie once again. So we've got agriculture issues, we've got issues with raising animals, chickens, cows. We said the chickens have been modified to grow twice as big in half the amount of time. Yeah, you make more money, but is it healthy? Is the bird healthy? Is the bird happy and stress-free? Because it's important. If you're going to eat meat, it's important that that animal was happy and healthy. Might sound funny, but if the animal's not healthy, it's not going to be a healthy meal. And that should make sense. So, unfortunately, they're not kept and grown in any kind of natural environment. They're crammed together. Their beaks and claws cut off so they don't fight one another and kill one another. They're enclosed with a lot of fecal matter, other dead animals, being fed food that's not necessarily food they would have eaten naturally. Their food is worse than our food. I mean, if they're going to feed us a bag of shit, what are they going to feed, a cow that they're going to kill? They'll feed them anything. Now, granted, there's a lot of different people growing food. There are some people that do it correctly. They do it the old way, they do it the more natural way, and you can get a good meal, luckily. But this is trying to be eliminated. So we have to be careful about how we choose our food. We have to understand its origin, where it came from, how old it was, how old it is. These are the issues, unfortunately, that are important to understand in order to choose what foods to eat.